right. I'm just pulling up all my stuff here. Give me just a second. I'm just pulling up all my stuff. All right. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a good night tonight. Yeah, so, whoops. So we're just hanging out. We had a gig last night. That was fun. Turned off the reverb. And so now we're back in the basement, and we're just gonna chill for a little while. I've got the Dean MLX tonight. I put a Beretta Special truss rod cover on it, just for fun. Hey Yannick, how's it going? I pulled out the Dean tonight. It sounds amazing. What do you do? You've mentioned that before when I've been doing these, that you were working. What is your job? Let's pull. Trying to get my thing to load here. I don't understand. Sorry, I'm trying to load the chat so I can see it. There it is. There we go. All right, we're going to start with a backing track, so let's go. right, guys. That was fun. I didn't realize that was... it just says Randy Rhoads style, but that was clearly Mr. Crowley. Cool. Hey, I hope everybody's had a good weekend. Looking forward to this week that's coming up here. Trying to see what else I can do for you tonight. Alright, let's sing a song. How about? Alright, now the reverb's on, so it's serious.
Satisfied is when he's all drunk. A suitcase and trunk, and the only time that he's satisfied is when he's all boy, and God, I know I'm one.
Man, that's a fun song. Love that song. Hey everybody, hey JB, hey Yannick again, hello. Hey Ian, hey John, hey Yannick again, hi V12. Thank you. This is my Dean MLX that I got on Guitar Center used. It was like $80 or something like that. It was horribly set up when I got it. The neck was not in the neck pocket properly. The nut was like somebody took like a razor and sliced all the string slots, so it was too low. The tuners were terrible. It had a lot of issues, but I got it all fixed up and ready to go. Thing about it is the humbuckers are actually really, really low output, which you would expect it to be high output based on how it looks. But it's actually really low output, and I like that. I like that it's low output, because having low output humbuckers gives you the benefit of the humbuckers without blowing up your pedals and your amp and stuff. So yeah, usually everyone wants overwound. I found that this is actually pretty cool with these underwound. Yeah, JB, you're right. That's how it is with a lot of guitars. A lot of times, like if you find the meat of what you're looking for and accept that everything else might need to be replaced, and then you look at the price, factor in what you might have to pay to fix it up to your specifications, go for it. When I got this guitar, I was like, I'm going to put super distortions in it. I'm going to put locking tuners and da-da-da-da-da. I ended up not doing any of that stuff. It came, I reset the neck where it needed to go. I took a little piece of rubber and glued it to the bottom of the existing nut because I was too cheap to buy a new nut. And then I had some Grovers in that parts bin right there that I just put on there. So now it's perfect. Thanks, John. Yeah, you're right. Most guitars are way too hot. Like that Beretta Special, it's my favorite guitar because it shouldn't be as good as it is. It's one of my favorites. I'll put it in the top 3. I love that guitar, but those pickups are hot. They are hotter than hell. Yeah, you're right. They are $15, but here's the deal, man. If you've ever ordered a guitar online and it finally comes and you put new strings on it and you're ready to go, the last thing you want to do is have to wait even longer. So I was just being impatient and stupid. I should get a new nut and make a video about that. It's really easy to install, but there could be some benefit there. Yeah, I do think low outputs have an advantage over hot, because the deal is, if they're too hot, it's hard to back it down. Like, yes, you can use your volume knob, but you're gonna lose something when it's not turned up all the way. So it's better to have low wound, turn it up all the way, and then add some balls to it on the floor or on your amp. I agree with you. And this guitar is the first one I had with super low output pickups. It doesn't sound super low output though when I play it, like right now. So, pickups in the Starcaster, would I consider them too hot? I think they're just a little too hot. Just barely. Like, to the point where if you turn the... So, let's say your volume's up all the way, right? To the point where you do this. And then you're good. Now, if you're playing with a lot of overdrive and you're playing, like, heavy, then it's perfectly fine. But if you want to do anything else, you do have to turn it down quite a bit to get it to be, you know, a little bit more reasonable. All right, Starcaster S1, after my heart, I tell you. I love my S1. You might be able to see it back there. No, you can't really tell from the shape. You can just see the OLP and a bunch of fenders back there. Yeah, the S1 is crazy. I love it. I think, though, that enough of us have started to notice that the prices are going up. Because every time I see an S1 now online, it's like 150 or more. And it used to be that they were like 45 or 50. So I don't know, man. Those of us that have them are lucky to have them now, because you're paying like classic vibe prices now for those. Did he do a video on it? I don't follow him. Did he really? History on my band? Okay. So the history on my band. This is what I know. I don't know. This is my... Some of this is guessing and some of this is truth. If any of you tuned in last night, I did stream all 3 sets of our show last night, and I will continue to do that. In fact, almost every Saturday for the rest of the year, there will be a live stream around 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time of my band for 3 or 4 hours. If you watch it every time, you're going to see that we play the same songs. So, you know, if you watch enough, you'll be like, hey, you guys did that one better last time. But anyway, so yeah, my band, they got together in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's a husband and wife team. And they're locally known around here. We're on the far western border of the state of Indiana. And around here, they're very well known in all the different bars and clubs and like the Eagles and the Moose Lodges and the VFWs and all those kind of places. Everybody knows who they are. They know their names and their faces and their band and everything else. And they had the same drummer for a really long time. He got in had an accident, and unfortunately he had to retire. So we got a new drummer, and then I was the newest guy. So, you know, I'm the youngest in the band. They've been together forever, playing all these places, meeting all these people, all these owners and all these event organizers and stuff. And we're playing, you know, like 40 or 50 shows a year. Sometimes we're playing Fridays and Saturdays. And so that's really the story. The husband and wife team, they actually met each other in a band. And then they formed their own band. So there you go. Humbucker in the bridge position. Those Epiphone humbuckers are awesome. What is it, 700T? Is that what it's called? Are you really, Ian? I grew up south of Indianapolis, and I lived there all of my childhood. A little town called Greenwood. That's where I grew up. It was little. It's not little anymore. When we moved there, it was mostly cornfields and a Meijer grocery store. And then they built everything up around it. Now it's like, and me and my wife and family, we lived there for a while. I've lived in like 5 states in the last 10 years, but we lived there for a while in Greenwood, and it got so busy and crazy that we said, we need to get the hell out of here. So we moved as far away as possible while still being in driving distance to my parents. Because, I mean, I want them to get to spend time with their granddaughter, right? So I didn't want to like move cross country. So we moved like, you know, quite a bit away from the craziness. We're in a much smaller town. We really like it out here. That's crazy. So Ian and Metal, and there's one other guy who he is in Indy also, that's in the Discord, and that has talked on here. That's nuts. We're all so close to each other. We should have a party. A party. We'll get like Pizza King. See, if you're from Indy, you know what I'm talking about. We'll get Pizza King, and we'll talk about guitars. 74 465 on the east side. Okay. I used to take, my wife is from Cincinnati, so I used to drive right past that all the time. East Coaster. You know, we're closer to you than most of the rest of the country, though. East Coast. For us, driving out to the East Coast was like a summer vacation, because it was like drivable, you know? Greenfield, Mozzi's Pizza. Man, so my grandma lived there. So growing up, I used to spend weekends over there almost every weekend in the summer, and we would go to Mozzi's, and I always liked that they had Shaquille O'Neal's shoes in there, and they had like autographed basketballs and stuff. Is that place still there? If that place is still there, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, Greenfield was one of my stomping grounds growing up. I spent many weekends there. In fact, my aunt, who I inherited a lot of this stuff, including that Bandit right there from, lived in Greenfield too, and, you know, spent a lot of time with her there. That's cool, guys. So, sorry to bore you with personal stories and talk, but, I mean, I had to mention it. There's some fellow Hoosiers in here. That is one of those places, and I would argue that Pizza King is another. That's one of those things that isn't everywhere, that it's like a... And sometimes, like, out-of-towners that have it, they don't like it. But I guess that's true with all of you watching who live in various parts of the country. There's things that you like that are normal to you, and, you know, no one else likes it because they didn't grow up with it. Pizza King Station. Yeah, and they had the N64 systems, and Sega. Before that, it was Sega Genesis. Hooked up to the TVs, and you put quarters in the machine, and it would turn the TV on, and you could play games while you ate your pizza. That was my favorite place as a kid. And I guess based on your last 2 digits of your username, we're very close to the same age, I think. So we would have had a similar childhood experience, I think. That's really cool, man. I wasn't sure I was going to do this live stream tonight, and I'm glad I did now. I enjoy talking more than playing, which I know you're here for playing, but I enjoy talking with all of you guys so much. Ian, you are the same age as my father. There's a Noble Romans in Greenwood. They opened a new one, like it's brand new. I went there a couple weeks ago. Seriously. You know, I'm not even kidding. Like, the next time I'm in town, I should send you a message on Discord. And Ian also, since you live close by. Maybe we should go there. That'd be really fun to meet. You're the guy who has the PV amp, right? The little PV, and we were talking about Metallica. I'm just trying to keep everything straight here. All right, that's what I thought. I'm trying not to forget that stuff. John, I wasn't around back then, but I miss it too. I just told my wife, I wish I were this age 30 years ago. Because the way the world is today is just insane. Like, I wish I were raising my family back then instead of now. But then it wouldn't be this family, right? So, you know, I'll take all the negatives of today's age to have my family and what I have. I love this guitar, guys. So, okay, I have a confession to make. So last night I gigged the Jaguar and the Mustang. Yeah, I remember now. You did send me that message. You thought you saw me. It was not me that day. I was not in that area that day. But anyway, as I was saying, I have a confession to make. I took the Jaguar and the Mustang last night. And if you guys, and those of you who watched know half of this. So first of all, I was playing, and as I was playing, the Jaguar's bridge sank down until it was resting on the body, and all of the high E string sounded like this when I played it. It was touching the fingerboard. So thankfully, I had the foresight to pack Allen wrenches. So in the middle of one of the songs, I ran over and grabbed an Allen wrench, and I was like raising the bridge. It was a nightmare. And it did that 3 or 4 more times throughout the show. So that was problem number 1. Yeah, John. So I took that Allen wrench with me back up to my mic, and I have this little like clip on my mic stand where I have all my guitar picks, and I just stuck the Allen wrench in there because I was like, I'm gonna need this all night if I keep playing this. So we'd finish a song, or we'd be in the middle of a song, and I would just turn down real quick and grab it, and then I'd be turning it, and then I'd have to retune. It was a nightmare. So that is going to be a video at some point. I need to figure out why that's happening and how to fix it. I'm not going to go the easy route, which is put some Loctite in there and put it where I want it, because I want to be able to flip it around. So, metal. I switched guitars. So I had the Mustang, which sounded awesome to me. So I had the Mustang. I started the show with it. And as I was playing it, I switched it to the neck pickup, and it was dead. There was no sound coming out of the neck pickup. So I was beating on it, and it wouldn't come back on. So I put it down, picked up the Jaguar, had the bridge problem. So I switched back. And so basically I was bridge pickup only the whole rest of the night. And I was including doing some like really low output, like super, like here's an example. Like something like this. So that kind of stuff, with only having a bridge pickup, was fun. It was kind of like, I mean, I've gigged with my Kramer Beretta multiple times, and my Stryker, and my other Beretta, so like I'm used to playing with the volume knob to getting it to sound okay. But like I'm sitting there with a really good neck single coil that I can't use. It bothered me all night. John, so just so you guys know, when I'm playing, obviously I can't see the chat, but I do watch back and read every single message you guys post during a live stream. So, John, I saw you say it's back, because it was back, but it was still broken. You're totally right. I need to pull the pick guard out, and that's, again, Every time something like this happens, it's natural content. I don't force any of my content, just so you know. I don't like invent problems so that I can make a video. I literally make a problem because something happened. Something naturally happened, so I make a video of that problem. So there's 2 problems right there that will be filmed soon as I can figure out what's wrong. The Mustang's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to guess that the switch is either bad, which I have a whole drawer full of switches, or the wiring just needs to be resoldered. S1 into a hardtail. Yeah, that's a good stopgap. And as you know, the reason you even said that is, as you know, there's a big difference between a true hardtail and just blocking it. But that's definitely a worthwhile endeavor, I would agree. Yeah, John, I was distracted. I played very badly last night, I will admit. I played terribly last night. Half of it wasn't my fault. Half of it was because, like, in You Shook Me All Night Long, for example. So that guitar solo, let me show you what I'm talking about. So that guitar solo, first it goes. Right, it does that. But then it goes up here. I couldn't do that because I was playing the Jaguar and the bridge had fallen. So when I played that, it sounded like this. And so I had to just be like, well, F this. And so I just went back down here and had to do something down. It didn't sound right. Didn't sound right at all. And then I got all like messed up in my head about it and I screwed it up. And that was my fault. And throughout the whole show, it was like that. If I had the Jaguar on, I was like, I can't play up here. Or I just fixed the bridge, but I don't know if it's going to work. So I'm going to just stay down here. I was basically stuck with the lower octave of every song with that guitar. And then with the Mustang, I was still in Jaguar mind. And so I'm doing this and nothing's happening. It was just, it wasn't a disaster of a show. I think the show went well. As John mentioned, the crowd did get into it. They were dancing the whole night. I wish I had rotated the tripod a little more so you could see that because it was really cool. I did rotate it for that one song, though, because I always go out in the crowd for that song. I wanted you guys to see that. But, so I learned my lesson. And that is, with these newer guitars, when we get new guitars, you know, unless it's brand new off the shelf and you've put, like, 100 hours on it, don't take it to a gig. Now, I had a backup, but the problem was my backup was also brand new. So, yeah. I did fix it right in the middle of the song. Okay, the other distraction. The stage was infested with bees. So at the very beginning, if you watched at the beginning, at the very beginning of set 1, where both me and Diana, the bass player and the other singer, I noticed she was doing this too. So we would be singing or playing, and then the bee comes, and it's like trying to get in our mouth. Like, I don't know if it showed up on the camera or not, but the bee was like swarming my face, trying to get in my mouth, trying to go down in my drink, trying to get on my guitar. So I'm playing like this, and I'm singing like this. I'm saying doing my lyrics and keeping my mouth closed. And then singing and keeping my mouth, because the bees were like trying to get in our face. It was crazy. Same thing was happening to her. It was funny. As the sun went down, they went away and it stopped. But I thought that was I couldn't really stop and explain it. I think she might have said something like, "Oh no, we're getting attacked by bees. Sorry," because we screwed up the ending of a song or something because both of us got hit with bees at the same time. And it's one of those things though. Like, the metal thing to do there would have been deal with it, get stung, and keep playing. She's allergic, and so am I, so unfortunately, we had to wimp out and not be metal when it came to that situation with the bees, so yeah. So that was the gig. I suppose... Oh, wow, I don't even have my volume down. These pickups are great. Low output. Look, I'm just sitting like this. Oh, that's something real quick I want to say. Have you guys noticed when you're watching a band live and they've got like 5,000, 10,000 watts of power behind them, and the singer takes his hands off the guitar and he's like singing like this? I always wondered, like, is there a guy backstage killing his input? Because, like, if I did that on stage and I took my hands off my guitar and didn't have my knob down, it would be feeding back and doing all kinds of stuff with the volume that we have up there. But not with this guitar, though, because it's wound low. That was one thing. Okay, the other thing real quick I wanted to talk about. I haven't made an update video because I don't have an answer yet. But my ear. So my right ear, as you may or may not know, on May 31st, my right ear went out, basically. And it started ringing, like really loud. And I lost all of the frequencies above 6,000 in my right ear. So I can't really hear treble at all on my right side. I can only hear bass. Thankfully, people don't really speak in 6,000. They speak in much lower, like 4,000, 3,000. So anyway, I've gone and gotten all these appointments and these hearing tests, and I ended up getting ear injections where they stick a needle through your eardrum and then pump it full of juice, and I did that 3 times. I will make an update video eventually, but I'm just telling you this now. They pumped it into my ear 3 times, 3 weeks in a row, had another hearing test, and it wasn't better. So there's no more treatment options available to me. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to make sure that I don't have like something really bad. I'm just going to say that. So they scheduled an MRI for me. So I went in last week, on Friday actually, a couple days ago, for an MRI. It was the one where they strap your head into this cage and then they strap you onto this thing and they push you in the MRI machine. Thankfully, the hearing protection was decent. For the MRI. I got my results like physically. I can see the pictures, but I don't know what I'm looking at. So I got to wait for the radiologist to call me and tell me if I have a problem. But I just wanted to say that it doesn't look like it's going to get better. And I've accepted that fact. And, this is more of a PSA than anything. 2 things. Number 1, I think I can deal with this because it's become normal now. When you're used to being able to hear silence, as a normal person is, and then you can't hear silence ever again because there's ringing all the time, it's very hard mentally to deal with that. It's very hard musically too, because it's like when you're mixing left and right channels, like I do for these videos, the reviews, I try to make sure things are level, and then when I'm doing music, right, I try to make sure the left and right has different stuff going on and whatever. It's very hard to do that when you can't hear the same out of your right ear as your left ear. So I found some tricks to allow me to continue doing that. And I've just kind of accepted that it's never going to get better. And if it never gets better, it never gets better. I'm not really that cut up about it. I think it's going to be okay. It might get better. They said it could take 6 months for the injections to work. But I'm not holding my breath. I'll be thankful and call this a win if I don't have something worse going on in there from the MRI that they look at. I had a in-ear piece that I'm working with that it's a wireless system, so I've got these earbuds that go down my back, and then they go in. You've seen them a million times. Like, all the professionals use them. This is not like a professional kit, though. It's like a cheaper one. So I can't ever hear the roar of my amplifier behind me again. I can't hear, like, the drummer to my left, looking back at him and hearing him. I bought that MG cab, and I invested a lot of time and money into my amplifiers and stuff, and I won't ever be able to hear them at full volume. If I ever manage to get a twin reverb, I'll never be able to hear natural breakup because of I have to protect my ears now, because my hearing could go out at this point if I blast it too loud. So, that's really hard. And so I'm getting used to using the in-ears. And, here's the thing. What do I have in my head right now, right? When I record, I usually have these on. Now, if I'm recording a song for a video, I usually don't wear these. I just have my speakers on way back, behind the camera, and then I'm recording while I'm videotaping it without the headphones. But if I'm not doing a video and I'm just doing a demo or something, I wear the headphones. So I'm used to hearing my voice in my head. I'm like right now. I'm used to hearing my guitar in my head, like right now. And that's essentially what's going on up on stage. It's not the same. It sounds bad, objectively. Like, if it were recorded, what's coming into my head were recorded, it would sound god-awful. Because there's almost no drums. There's just enough of the other guitarist for me to understand what he's doing and hear what's going on. And there's not much bass at all, because I can feel the bass through my body, because she's got that big orange amp. And then my guitar is a little bit louder, because naturally you want to hear yourself so you can play well. And then my voice is over everything else, because I have to be able to hear my own voice. If you tried singing with your ears plugged, it's possible, but it's not ideal. So I need to be able to hear myself. So it sounds awful in my head, and that's really hard for me. Because, like, when you're making music and you're performing for people, you want to have that instant understanding of, like, was that good? Did that sound good? Was my guitar loud enough? Was his guitar loud enough? You know, was my voice, am I too close to the microphone to where I'm too loud? Do I need to step back? I will never know what's going on there, you know? And I trust my band to tell me, and they do if they notice something like that. But as a musician, as a perfectionist, it's very difficult for me to know that things will always be less than perfect to my standards because I can't really hear it. So that's really hard. The PSA part of this is, if you guys don't have this problem, you don't have ringing in your ears all the time and whatever, seriously, it's not a wimpy thing to do to protect your hearing, okay? I'm not going to talk about this for too long, and like, this isn't a lecture by any means, but like, I'm serious. Like when you get in your car and you want to listen to the new Metallica album, you know, and you want to listen to Lux Eterna really loud because it's a really good song, just don't. You turn it up loud enough that you can hear it real well, but like don't do it to where you turn the radio off, your ears are still ringing a little bit, and then a few minutes later it goes away, because it might never go away. So just keep that in mind. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If it is worth it to you, though, if you are the kind of person and you're like, that won't bother me, do what you want to do. But like, it's not a problem I ever thought about. And my doctor tells me it was a viral thing that caused it. It was not, believe it or not, from blowing my head off with my amps all these years. It was not that. It was something viral, as far as they know. So, thank you, John. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Yannick. And thank you, Metal. I appreciate it very much. It's been helpful to be able to talk about it with you guys, too. You know, I present myself to you every week, sometimes multiple times a week. And, you know, I wanted to provide an explanation if the quality gets worse, but I'm determined to not let it get worse. I will say I have noticed that my voice has become a little bit more pitchy, because I'm still getting used to hearing pitch out of my right side. And yes, I can hear it perfectly fine on my left. But when it sounds a little different from your right, from your left, then your brain kind of tries to sum the sounds and give you a pitch. It's not always right. I have to learn that a little bit better to be able to sing properly again. So I think I do a decent enough job, but it's not really as good as I think it could be. Not like I had an amazing voice before, but, you know. So that's my spiel. I suppose we should play, huh? All right. Let's play something. All right, I have a sorry about the reverb. I have a playlist that has a bunch of stuff on it, so I'm gonna go look at it real quick, see what's on there. Yeah, you're right, Ian. I'm sure Angus Young has horrible tinnitus because of how loud his stuff has been over the years. I'm pulling up a playlist to try and figure out what to do. All right. What is this? Do I have something in D or A? This is in A. Yannick, I'll tell you in a minute. Thank you.
Whoop. Oh.
There we go. Okay, so Yannick asks, what are you doing to the white guitar? Oh boy. So I talked about this on a previous live stream, but very quick story. We're doing band rehearsal, band practice, and somehow the candle that was burning it was like a scented candle that was burning on top of the piano next to where my Wolfgang was, it fell off the piano and poured wax all over the guitar. All over it. Like wax all the way down the neck. All the way around the body. Inside the tuners. On the back of the headstock. I have this. This is a trim tool. You can actually see there's still some wax on it. See that? So, scented candle wax. All over it. So, it is there, having the wax removed. I might have to replace the tuners because some wax actually got inside the tuners. I can't decide if that might be a good thing in disguise because wax can coat something and make it... Yeah, wax potted my guitar, yeah, right? Unfortunately, it did not get on the pickups. It has a very microphonic bridge pickup, too. So that would have been nice if it wax potted the pickup, but it didn't. It was all in the wrong places, so it was just a huge mess. It was scented, so I put it in the case. I was like, I don't want to clean this guitar. Like, I'm worried about it. I don't want to look at it. I'm afraid. Whatever is on there is on there. It's not going to get worse. So I left it in the case for a few days, and when I opened the case, it was like this waft of candle scent hitting me in the face. And that guitar, so I got all the wax off of it, and it's just sitting there right now, but it still smells like that when I walk over there. And this was like a long time ago that this happened, so that's why it's on the bench. I'm not actually doing anything to it other than it's just sitting there. And really, I have so many guitars now that it is required that one guitar is always up there on that table because I don't have anywhere else to put any more guitars. Like every spot on I have a 9 guitar rack. I have 2 of them. Each of them has 11 guitars on it. I've got the bass in the stand back there. I'm holding one that isn't on one of those stands. There's that one on the bench. There's 3 off camera that you can't see in like individual stands. There are 3 in cases on the other side of the basement. I mean, they're everywhere. They're completely everywhere. I don't need to be getting any more, but I just can't help myself, you know? Unfortunately, the walls down here are concrete. So I could do wall hangers, but I would have to attach them to concrete with some sort of adhesive. I don't want to drill into these walls because this house is over 100 years old. And I'm afraid that if I drill into the wall, number 1, something gross will come out. And number 2, I might crack the foundation and then the whole house will fall down. No, not really, but I don't want to drill into the wall because I'm kind of worried about that. So I got to figure something out. The logical answer is get rid of some of your guitars. But I don't want to. So we're just going to roll with what we got. I can't believe how good this guitar sounds, though. Like, you ever pick up a guitar and you just hit an A chord and you just want to keep doing it? I only have a few guitars that I feel that way about. This is one of them. The Mustang is the other, and the Beretta Special. Those are the 3 guitars that I own, where when I hit that A chord, oh. Fun fact, the Dean ML was actually designed to sustain longer than other guitars. I can't say that it does, but that was its original design. What it is it's an Explorer and a Flying V connected to each other. You can kind of see where if this were an Explorer, then this part would come over, right? If it were a V, then this part would be a V shape, and this part would also be a V shape. But this guitar was actually designed to sustain longer. He took I forget the dude's name, the guy who was in charge of Dean forever. He's not anymore, but he took this part off of a Flying V and put this on here. And then the strings terminate in the back like a Telecaster. And then supposedly the body shape or something made it resonate. It might have just been a bunch of marketing mumbo jumbo, but I will say that it does sustain for like a really long time. I mean, it's still going. And that's with like underwound humbuckers. It's still going. I mean, I understand like people talk about sustain a lot with a guitar, but the thing I don't understand is its application and usefulness. Like I can understand if it's like you're measuring the quality of the guitar based on its sustain, but I have yet to find a situation in which that's actually useful for like an exorbitant long amount of sustain time. It's one thing if you hit a note and then it just dies immediately. Like, that's terrible. But, like, when they say, oh, man, the sustain on this guitar is so good. Like, I agree and understand that that's pretty cool. But, like, what's the use for that? Like, I guess if you were playing, like, if you were hitting a root note of something and you wanted it to ring for a while, like if you were playing an over A. And then it's still going. I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. Metal, that wasn't to put you down. I'm not specifically talking about what you're saying. That's fun to do. I mean when people are using it like it's a qualifier for something. Like, oh, that guitar's awesome, but the sustain isn't very good. Like, by not very good, do you mean like you hit an A chord or you hit a note and it like dies immediately? Or do you mean that it only sustains for 10 or 15 seconds instead of 25? Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You can criticize it if it's like, and that's all you get. But I don't get it. I don't get the general snobbery in this hobby. I just don't get it. I joined like these new Facebook groups about guitars. One of them is about cheap guitars, and I swear most of the people in that group, the only reason they're in that group is whenever somebody posts something, they can say, oh, here's a picture of my guitar that's better than yours and cheaper than yours was. And I'm an amazing luthier and an amazing tech because I installed new pickups and I put these new things in here and da-da-da-da-da, and now it's amazing and I can't put it down. Like, what are you doing, dude? That's not the point. You should be saying either, that's a great deal, good job, or, hey man, you might have overpaid a little bit for that. Which I wouldn't even say that. If that were true, I wouldn't say that to somebody. Because what good is it? Unless they bought it at a store, there's no reason at all to tell somebody that. Unless they paid like $1,000 for a Squire or something. Then maybe you should say something. But if it's like worth $300 and they paid $400, like, what do you get out of that? By being like, oh my god, you're dumb. I got mine for $50. Ha ha ha. I just don't get it. The mentality of these people in these groups, I don't understand it. There's some forums where the people behave that way too. Like, all they are there to do is post a picture of a guitar that they got that was a good deal. They lie about how much they got it for, probably, and then they go into detail about all of these things they did to it and how proud they are of it. And it's not because they're trying to help people. Like, if I make a video about a guitar, it's not because I'm like, guys, look how cool I am. I got this amazing guitar and it's so cool and you should be jealous of me and I'm awesome and only I can find good deals. No, that's not the case. That's not the point. The point is so that I can say, look at this guitar. It was a good deal. This is about what I got it for. If you can find something for that price, it's probably worth it. And here's the mods I did. And here's how to do them. I just don't get it. Yeah, Facebook is terrible. My parents were right about that one. Facebook is terrible. I use it every day, but it's terrible. Those groups are just toxic. I almost never post anything there. I've posted a few of my videos in there, but though, because there was an example. There was a guy who was talking about, he found a Starcaster S1, and he said he played it and it felt really good, but he wasn't sure if he should buy it. Now, and he was asking for advice, and I think they were asking $80 or something like that. Two problems. Number one, these snobbish people have gotten so advanced in their ways that they are getting these people to seek their approval before making these decisions for themselves. They gotta ask, oh dude, you played the guitar, you thought it felt good, and it's a good price, and you want to buy it. But you're so afraid of being judged by these snobbish people that you have to ask them first. That's not his fault, that's the group's fault. And then the second thing, so he asked the question, what do you think they said? I mean, pretty much universally it was, that guitar's a piece of shit, you shouldn't buy it. That guitar is a Kmart guitar. You should get a real guitar, like a Fender Stratocaster, like my 1977 Fender Stratocaster that I put a super distortion in when I was only 17 years old. And then I put some Grover tuners on it. And then I upgraded the tremolo system because I wanted to have an Ibanez Edge system. So I routed it out and put a blah, 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 blah. That's what you should do instead. Are you kidding me? It's all this misinformed bullshit. Like, I'm sorry to say that, but it is. So I replied and I said, hey man, I think that's a great deal. Here's a video that I made about it so that you can see what the guitar is about. Some of the history, my experience with it, if you're interested. And people got so mad. They were like, why would you give him these lies and tell him these things? I looked at your channel. You also liked the Maestro. That's also a Kmart guitar. And you lied about the Black Label Strat and said it was made in America. It wasn't made in America. It's a piece of crap import guitar. And blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know what is with these people. I don't get it. Would I recommend transferring to Dean guitars from a Schecter? So, Schecters have a bad reputation for no reason. People like to say bad things about Schecters and say that they're not good. One of the guitars I really want, even though it's a meme guitar, is a Hellraiser. I think it looks cool. The over-designed abalone thing and the Floyd Rose and all that, like, I'd love to have one of those. And the neck-through body, I think Schecters are really cool, really good guitars. The only reason to transfer to another style of guitar, another brand, is if you personally have an issue with Schecter guitars. Like, let's say that you have a Schecter and you don't like the way the neck feels, or you don't like the colors, or you don't like the abalone, and you don't like the headstock logo, and you're not feeling it, like it's not your style or something. Like, if you feel that way about it, that's your call, man. If you don't like it, that's good enough reason. Now, as far as going to Dean guitars, you know, that's hard to say, because that's like saying, should I go from Ford to Chevrolet? Because Chevrolet has made things like the Chevette, but they've also made things like the Camaro and the Corvette. So, like, you know, with Dean guitars, more often than not, I have found that they are pretty good value instruments. I've got a Dean Custom Zone. You can see its green neck sticking out behind me over that side. I really like it. It has a really nice fingerboard. It's got this weird, like, toilet seat plastic fingerboard instead of wood. It's cool though. I like it. They took a risk and it paid off. This one, I mean, yes, if you can find one of these, this is the lowest model, right? This is like the Squire version of the Dean ML. It's called the Dean MLX. Hell yes, if you can find one of these things. They're usually really cheap. Dean also has a bad reputation, and I don't really know why. It's from these same people who spread these fake rumors and have this elitist attitude about things. At the end of the day, are any of us playing stadium tours? And the thing is, if we were playing stadium tours, then we could choose to play the Dean or the Schecter or whatever the hell, the Starcaster on stage if we wanted to, but we're not there, so it doesn't matter. So all these elitists need to just stop. They just need to chill out. So to answer your question, Would I recommend it? I would recommend it if it looks like something you want. You know? If it's like the Dean MLX, like, or the Dean ML, you really like this body shape and you think it looks cool. Yeah, Dean, I like Dean myself. If I ever make it in the guitar world, like, you know, we all play this game, right? Like when we were little boys, like if I ever played basketball, like who would I want to make my shoe if I played in the NBA? So for me, if I ever made it in the guitar, who would I want to make my guitar? To be totally honest with you, I would want it to be Dean or Peavy. Because they, to me, are symbols of people like us. They're symbols of making really cool guitars for a long time. They're relatively affordable. And, you know, you can spite everybody by playing them and playing them well. Because it's like, oh man, you play a Squire, you play a Dean, you play a Schecter. Oh man, you're a loser. Okay, and then you play it and you play it well. Well, then they have no words to say to you. Was it going to be that much better if you played on something else? A Gibson? Probably not. It would have been the same. So Dean, I like it. I don't think you would be making a bad decision if you have a legitimate reason not to want the Schecter and it's your own reason. If it's because of what other people have said to you, don't trust them. Trust your own hands, your own ears, and your own feelings about the Schecter. Dean makes really cool basses too. I agree with you. Dean is a good brand. And they have a really, really cool logo. I mean, what is there not to like about those wings? And this headstock is super weird. It's like really crazy, over-designed, in your face. You know, I like that. And that goes in all of society. Why have we now gotten to the point where all of the logos have to be like a square, a red square? And all of the fonts are the same font, the sans serif font. Why? What happened to cool designs? Like, what happened to, it was called skeuomorphism. What happened to when we had logos and things in the world that popped out, that were distinct? Now everything looks exactly the same. Same with guitars. So, Dean, go for it. Does the shape of a body make a difference? I'm probably going to get burned at the stake for saying this, but probably not. The weight kind of makes a difference. But, so, these differences, though, that exist are so slight that it's hardly worth mentioning. And what I mean by that is, let's use the SG for an example. Gibson Epiphone SG. The body is lighter, and it's smaller than like a Les Paul. So when you play it, it sounds like it has more treble. It's also because the bridge pickup is closer to the bridge compared to a Les Paul. It doesn't have as much bass. It sounds a little bit more trebly. But the thing is, all you have to do is go to your amp and just like move the bass knob just barely, and now it sounds the same as a Les Paul. If it's the same humbuckers and you're moving them to different guitars, the difference is going to be so negligible that you could change it by barely turning a knob on your amp. So the body shape doesn't really make a difference for sound. Now, for comfort and feeling and aesthetic, absolutely it makes a difference. When I play my Les Paul, it makes my back feel like it's going to break sometimes, and I wish I had my SG. So that can make you play better or worse. If you're playing something like an SG that's lighter, or something like this is the Dean MLX, so it's made of cheaper, lighter wood. I would rather play this than a heavier version of it that costs 8 times as much just because it has different wood. There's no reason, in my opinion. So, shape of the body doesn't make a difference slightly to the sound, but mostly to how you feel. And at the end of the day, what it comes down to what's most important is how you feel about it and how it looks. How you imagine yourself with it, you know? Like me, I feel like a badass when I play this guitar because I know it looks really cool. It looks really cool. When I take this guitar out to gigs, everybody asks me about it. Everybody asks me about it. What is that funky looking thing up there? What is that? That's so cool. You know? And I know that it mirrors some of my personality. And I have a connection with it. And because of that connection, I play this Dean better than I would play like that Godin guitar that we reviewed. That's just not my style, man. If I played that guitar, I'd feel like, I don't know. I wouldn't feel as inspired. I wouldn't feel like let's say I played a perfect solo at a gig with that guitar. I'd be like, that was good. But if I did it on this, I'd be ready to run around the crowd and give people high fives because of the energy and the electricity that it brings to me personally, the way that it looks and how I feel about it. So don't discount that. That matters a whole lot. It's more than a spec sheet. It's also how you feel. Metal, you're 100% right. The dirtier your signal is, the less of a difference there will be. The SG does have a neck dive issue. Mine doesn't for some reason. And I know most of them do, but mine doesn't. And I don't know why. Body shape doesn't have much difference. What about density of the wood? How much mass is in there? Yeah, exactly. I agree. And it does make a difference. If you're using a heavier wood, it's going to be a little bit more bassy and sustain a bit longer. But not to the point where I would say you shouldn't get something because of it. Now, if they're exactly the same price, though, let's say that you have one that's a lot lighter, one that's a lot heavier, they're exactly the same price, and you're only going to play sitting down, get the heavy one. But if you're going to be standing up, take that into consideration. Can you handle, 8, 9, 10, 11 pounds standing up? Or do you want to go with something that's like 7 pounds? That matters. Don't rub on your... Yeah, the Strat is by far the most comfortable guitar to play sitting down for me. I would agree. Yannick, what do I think about Floyd Rose? I think Floyd Rose is my very favorite. Notice I didn't say the best, because I can't make that declaration, because there's millions of guitarists out there. But my favorite is the Floyd Rose over any other trem system. I absolutely love it. The learning curve is immense, and it took me 2 or 3 years to learn all the nuance that goes into owning and caring for a Floyd Rose. But now that I know, if I could have a Floyd Rose on every guitar I own, including this one, I would do it. I absolutely love it. Unlimited range when you're going down. The sounds you can make, the harmonics with the squeals that you can make, it's unlimited. You can use it to do very simple vibrato on cowboy chords, or you can go totally nuts. I love the Floyd Rose, but it is not for the lighthearted. If you are newer and you don't really understand how the guitar works or how to set up or care for your guitar, there's nothing wrong. I would say don't stay away from Floyd Rose. It's okay. You should get it and learn it. And you might have problems with it, but that's okay. You'll learn. And once you become a master of setting up and maintaining a Floyd Rose and using it, man, it opens up your playing. I mean, I played the guitar for like 17 years and had never owned a Floyd Rose. And then when I got my first one, my mind was so blown. I could not believe the things I was able to do with it. I mean, there were times where I have hundreds of demos saved on my computer. But like the time period when I had this guitar, there were so many things where I would play stuff and then I would just experiment with it. And I would make these noises and I was like, that's how he did it. In this song, that's how he did it. That unworldly sound that I never could figure out. That's how he did it. So Floyd Rose, I think every guitarist should own at least one guitar with a Floyd Rose and should learn how to handle it. There are a lot of bad, low-quality Floyd Rose systems out there, though. So keep that in mind. If you have trouble with it, it may not be you. It may be the equipment. And it can be upgraded and fixed. I did a video about that. There's like a $20 thing you can buy for pretty much any Floyd Rose that'll fix almost all of your problems. Stainless steel saddles, stainless steel nut blocks, stainless steel nut. If you put those on pretty much any Floyd Rose base plate, it's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. Would I recommend PV amps coming from a Katana? I would recommend PV amps coming from anything. I own like 5 of them. PV amps are the champion of the working guitarist and the champion of the budget guitarist. Any PV made in the 90s is going to be good. Or earlier, I would even say. The newer ones, like the Vipers, those are really good. I like those too. If you like having all of those effects, though, probably keep your Katana. If you don't care much about the effects and you just want to run it dry, or you've got a pedal board, a PV Bandit is the best value amp you can buy. It's like $100 usually used. Get one from the 90s, and you will have enough power to literally blow your face off and knock your house down. It is so loud, so much headroom. I mean, it is an amazing... It's the poor man's Marshall stack. It really is what it is. Definitely would recommend PV amps for sure. Alright. Sorry, I'm way behind because I talked so much. Speaking of a Floyd, is that a D-Tuna? Yes, that is a D-Tuna. I love the D-Tuna. I'm going to do a video about it. It's the best thing ever. It makes my favorite trem even better. And I want to get... They're like $40 though. But I want to get one for all my Floyd guitars. Just so you guys know, the detuna is a thing where you play, you know, you're in normal tuning. And then when you pull the detuna out, it pulls out. Look. Okay. When you pull it out, it drops this string to D. It keeps the rest of the strings in tune. Drops this. So you're in drop D. And then now you're back in regular tuning. That's what the detuna does. It's an amazing invention that Ed Van Halen invented. It's amazing. And I love it. It's awesome. Bucky's the amazing best gas station in America, Bucky's? Do you have a Telecaster that has Bucky on it? Are you in the Discord? Because if you are, I need to see a picture of that. Bucky's is like my wife's favorite thing. She loves Bucky's. She loves that little logo, whatever he is, chipmunk or something. If you're saying like Bucky's, the Bucky logo Telecaster, like we might have to talk about something, because that's pretty cool. Heritage. Oh man, if you're in the Discord, can you please send a picture? I really want to see what that looks like. And you're going to trade for a Strat Floyd. Is it a Fender Strat or a Squier? Inherited your father's 69 to 70 crossover SG Standard. Hard to play from sitting, neck dive. Yeah. It's a weird... The thing I like the most about the SG is the access to the upper frets is unparalleled. It's like they glued the neck onto the pocket at the last fret. I've never had a guitar you can reach that easy, but it does tend to do, you know, this kind of thing. This doesn't. You'd think it would with this huge headstock. It doesn't have any neck dive at all. Yeah, Metal, that's the way to do it. I'm assuming you're using the preamp out into the power amp in on the TNT. That's a great idea. And that'll do it. Classic 50. You know, the other guitarist in my band has nothing but good things to say about that. He said that he gigged with a Classic forever. PVs are good. PVs are great. Squier HH. Is it the... Oh, what was that called? The Showmaster? Or the Stage Master? Is that what it is? 90s Fender amp at Goodwill for $30. It looks like a rug and it's mega sensitive. Is it the Fender Rad or the Fender Hot? Is that what it's called? And it has like red buttons on it? Rad. Keep it. That thing is going to be worth a lot of money someday. In fact, right now, it's probably, to the right person, it's probably worth about $150 to $200 to the right person. That gear is becoming boutique and becoming collectible. I'm the kind of guy who would want to buy that. Just to give you an example. I love quirky, weird things that nobody else seems to like. The Fender Rad amp was a practice amp, but it had a bunch of things built into it. Here's the thing that to understand. Amps that you buy today almost exclusively are digital. And what that means is your guitar goes into a computer chip. The computer chip assigns it effects and crap, runs it through some power. Runs it through some preamp, and then runs it through some power to the speaker. So now you've got this board which has most of the time a little bit of a noticeable fakeness to it. Slightly. Now sometimes you can't hear it. If you're using like an Axe Effects or like a really nice modeling amp, you can't really tell. Here's the thing. Amps before all the computers, obviously, they were all, you plug the guitar in to the amp, it runs the signal through the preamp, and then it runs it through the EQ, and then it runs it to the power amp and to the speaker. That's how amps all used to be made. It's hard to find a big, good, solid-state amp now. PV Bandit is an exception, but it's like $500. that mid-range, mid to lower range solid-state amp that's good is almost impossible to find. I mean, nowadays, if you get like the Champion by Fender, it's like a cheaper amp. It's got digital stuff on it. There's a knob to change stuff on it. Just a little knob. So that Fender Rad, and it looks very vintage, you know? Like you said, it looks like a carpet. Looks like a rug. People like that aesthetic because it's out of place in this time, you know? So I would say hold on to it. It's only going to be worth more as time goes on, and it's a really cool amp. I would hold on to that. Rage 158 has a headphone out, aux cable to the input. I think that's safe to do. As long as the signal is really low going into it. That's really cool. It's 2019 Contemporary. Ooh. I know which one you're talking about. My local shop has one of those. It's probably fine then. That's the other thing about PV amps. You cannot kill them. You could literally set it on fire and throw it out the back of a moving truck into a lake, and then it would still work. It's almost impossible to break those PV amps. Like, almost impossible. They last. Now, a digital amp, I mean, you accidentally spit when you talk and it lands on it, it's done. I mean, not really. They've gotten a lot better. That Positive Grid Spark is probably like the best practice amp ever. Because you can load effects onto it from your phone and stuff. And, you know, I used to be completely 100% anti-digital in every way. Hated digital, never wanted it. But I've learned that it can be convenient to have all that stuff. The caution, I would say, though, is for a new guitarist or somebody just starting out and learning, I'm not sure that I like digital amps for new guitarists. And the reason is, you never learn how the effects work and what they do for you if you're not plugging them in and physically handling them and plugging them into a real amp and learning what all the knobs do on your amp. If a digital amp, you can just be like, I love this song, blah, blah, blah. Oh, look, I can download a patch to make my guitar sound exactly like that guy's guitar. Boom. But then you never learn the nuance that went into making that sound. And instead of copying that dude's sound, you could have found what about it you liked and then craft your own sound. So, I'm not against it 100% like it's a horrible thing if you're doing this, but I would suggest trying to learn things, not the old-fashioned way for the old-fashioned way's sake, but it's a teach a man to fish kind of thing, you know? Oh, duh. Yeah, Metal, you're right. Metal, you're totally right. If it's a headphone level, then it's like... Yeah, you're right. Ian, Headrush is great. That's one of the ones that I would consider high quality. Those Headrushes are awesome. Right now, for these live streams, I'm using a Line 6 Pod HD. Pod HD 500X. My microphone's running through it. Everything is running through the pod right now. Everything. The guitar, my microphone, the audio for the backing tracks is running through the pod. You're only hearing the pod. So like when I play a backing track, it runs it through my pod into my headphones to you. My guitar runs through the pod to you. Microphone runs through the pod to you. So I have like a foot switch to turn on reverb for my mic. So I have reverb. Now I don't. I have a compressor, an EQ, a whole bunch of stuff on this microphone. And then the other side of it are the guitar effects. And I have a ton of effects on there. But the thing is, this pod is older. The digital modeling amps that are out now, most of them can do more than this dedicated floor unit can do, and it's all built in. So, they don't typically sound as good, but it's not usually because of the amp, it's because of the speakers that they install in them. Like the Positive Grid, it sounds pretty good, but it doesn't sound great when you crank it, because it's using tiny little speakers. I am intending, and let me know if you guys think this is a good idea, but I had intended to get a Spark because I want to use it for like these live streams and for other stuff. And then I was going to mod it to put a speaker out and see what it sounded like through like a 4x12 to see if it's usable. Oh yeah, John. That's what I do. I record right into my Mac. I use a Windows PC for everything but recording music. Everything else is done on my PC. So I have 2 MacBooks and a Mac Mini, all of which are not very new, but yeah, all my music goes through those. So, yeah, this pod is cool. You can also assign like 4 different settings to 4 different buttons, so I can just switch between them. It's pretty cool. All right. I guess we should play something. Let's see, what do we want to do? I used to metal. I might be able to figure it out though. Sort of. I can sort of play it. My guitar's not in tune though. I got a tune, hold on. Dance the Night Away has the best vocal harmonies of any Van Halen song. It's not even close. Yeah, I think you're right. There we go. How long did it take me to learn to shred? I don't consider myself as having the ability to shred. Everything that I do is very formulaic, you know. I listen to people like Nuno Bettencourt and I'm like, that guy can shred. I wouldn't put myself there at all. I wouldn't put myself there. But if you mean like playing quickly, I guess, I would say, let me think about that for a minute. 3 or 4 years since I started, I was able to play a bit faster and faster and faster. And then I continued to play for a few more years, and I got faster than that. And then I met my wife, my future wife, who's my current wife now. But when I met her, it was like, what's a guitar? There's this woman. And then I didn't play for like 5 years. So then I picked it up and I played like once every 3 months. It wasn't until about 2.5 years ago or 2 years ago that I picked the guitar up and it became like a central part of me again. Took a while. And a lot of it came back to me quickly. But I would say 3 to 4 years of playing like all the time. Like I would come home from school, pick up my guitar, play it, fall asleep playing it. Or, you know, put it down and go to the bed, fall asleep. Get up early before school, play a little bit, go to school. That was my life. Summertime, that's all I did, play my guitar. So I would say 3 to 4 years of playing. And really, for noticeable progress of being like, I can actually kind of play a lot of stuff. Probably about 2 years, year and a half. That whole first year or two of learning to play the guitar is learning how to feel the guitar. And until you know how to do that, it's hard to do other stuff. Because obviously, like anything else, like you want to go out and play the songs that you love. But you can't do that until you understand how and why it works. And Jimmy, you will get there. If you keep trying and you keep playing, you will get there. Barring any sort of unfortunate, you know, some other outside problem, you will get there. Dedication. It's like anything else. I don't believe there's anyone, unless they have some sort of like disability or something, that isn't good at guitar and can never be good. Unless maybe you can't keep time or something, or maybe you can't hear pitch, or you can't understand pitch or something. I could see that being a blocker too. But generally speaking, for anyone can learn to play. Now, not everyone can be a completely crazy shredder like Van Halen or Randy Rhoads or Angus Young or, any of those guys. Or Nuno. Not anybody can be them. Those people were prodigies. You know, they were the Mozarts of our time. They're able to do things that most people can't do and will never be able to do. But to be serviceable and to be able to play comfortably with other people and perform and record and stuff, anybody can do that. Yep, Metal, you're right. You're right. There are 2 solos that I'm trying to get perfect, and I'm the same way with you on them. You'll know I've perfected them when I record the covers and release them on my channel. But one of them is the solo for Jump. I can kind of play it, but it needs to be perfect. And then the other one is the solo for Dreams. Both of them are Van Halen songs. The solo for Dreams makes my hair stand up. That solo is amazing. Like, everything about that solo is amazing. There is a couple of sections of it, though, that I want to get perfect. And then for Jump, there's that part at the very end that I'm trying to get down. But those are 2 that I play all the time. And then a third thing that I'm trying to learn and to do perfectly is Devil Went Down to Georgia, but on the guitar. I think that would go over real well with our crowds for the band. Me and the other guitar player would do it, and we would duel and stuff. It'd be really cool. But, that's not a super easy one to play either. I don't think I know that, Metal. Alright, let's play something. Yep, I know exactly what you mean. It's one or the other, usually. Like, you can get where you need to be here, but you can't get it here. Or you can get it here, but you can't quite get it here. It's frustrating. And it's harder, the closer you get, the harder it is. Because you're like, oh, I'm just, but yeah. So, Jimmy, my best recommendation to you, play it as fast as you can play it, that part that's hard for you. Every single day, multiple times a day. And naturally, it will get faster. And don't give it up. Don't give up on stuff like that. Okay, let's play something now. I think we should play... I don't know. Here. I don't know what key this is in, though. And I've played it on the stream before, but that's cool. They call me the breeze. I keep blowing down the road. Oh yeah, they call me the breeze. I keep blowing down the road. I ain't got me nobody. I ain't carrying me no load. There ain't no change in the weather, ain't no change in me. There ain't no change in the weather, ain't no change in me. I'm not hiding from nobody, nobody's hiding from me. Baby, I got to keep moving on. I got that green light, baby. I got to keep moving on. I might go to California, might go down to Georgia, I don't know. Should you be making faces? It's up to you, man. I don't really think about it. Now that you've pointed it out, you've made me self-conscious. Don't think about what your face is doing. Unless someone comes up to you and they're like, man, when you play the guitar, you look like an idiot and you should quit. Then maybe you think about your faces. All right. It does come natural. So, here's the thing. I kind of know it's happening because I have the thought of like, keep a straight face, keep a straight face, keep a straight face, but then it distracts you. So the best thing to do is like, don't let go of everything, because if you let go of everything, then you'll poop your pants, and that's not good. But let go of everything when you're playing. Don't think about how you look. Just play. However it makes you feel. But don't let go of everything. Because seriously, you don't want to pee your pants. I love this guitar. I always forget about it. When you have as many guitars as I do, then you feel bad, because you're neglecting some of them. This one has been neglected for a while, so that's why I've played it all night. All right. Stone cold it the whole time. All right. Yeah, that's right. Well, not the way they play it. I always wanted to do like a heavy version of that song. Something like heavier, you know. It's good as it is, though. The original, all-time good song. Okay, well, I mean, it's getting late, but I'm having a really good time, guys. I had to get the taste of last night out of my mouth with my whole Mustang Jaguar deal that happened. So, they used to do it. They did. That was a song that they used to do, I think. That would be fun. That would be really fun. I mean, John, you've heard Rob sing. And so all three of us can sing. So we could do it. We could do 3-part harmonies. It'd be fun. Oh, and we did Stacy's Mom, the song. We did that last night. So that was not planned. We were at rehearsal, and I just started playing it. And And the drummer happens to know the entire song, like all the drums, all the vocals, and everything. Which, by the way, I have recorded the entire song in a video that's coming out on Saturday. That's what started it. So I'd been working on it all week last week. And so, you know, I get to rehearsal, and I'd finished it, and I was really excited about it. So we were like in a lull between songs. I started playing it. He comes in with the drums and starts singing the lead part. And I was like, okay, are we going to do this whole thing? So we played through the entire song, and I sang the harmony, and it was awesome. And the bass player and the guitarist were like, we're learning that over the next couple days. So, you know, I didn't think anything of it. And then last night, the bass player was like, all right, we're going to play a new song for you. And then she turned to us, and she's like, we're going to do Stacy's Mom. And I was like, okay, I didn't practice it, but okay, let's go. So we did it. It was fun. It was really fun. It went over pretty well. Obviously, we got some kinks to work through, because that song's really got some weird stuff going on in it. Like, there's a key change, and then there's these weird chords that you don't expect that make the song an earworm. That's part of why it became what it was. Number one, the subject matter. Number two, the way that it was, Really? You know, I thought that too. I think everybody, that's like a Mandela effect thing, right? I was convinced that that's who did that song. And it was not. It was not. It's crazy. There you go. See, I don't know. Back then, kind of. I can't quite get the effect. I don't think he's using a phase on that, is he? Yeah, I don't have, like... The reverb is buried behind, like, 8 screens on this pod. Going back to what I said earlier, if I had a real reverb pedal, I could just go... But I can't. I love that. That 316 is good. It's really good. If you guys couldn't tell, he is my favorite. He is my very favorite of all time. In my opinion, he is the best of all time. That's just me. You know, you can get a reverb pedal. I have this one that I gig with that I got on Amazon. It was like $17.99. Throw it in the front of your amp. There's like a certain way that I have mine set so that I can throw it in the front of my amp. Problem solved. I used to not look at amps because they didn't have reverb. And then I was like, just get a reverb pedal, dude. And I did. I held out for a long time. Or take your amp and your guitar to an empty parking garage at night. Then you have reverb. Yeah, I never looked into them that deeply. Mine are not Amazon Basics, but I think they're all the same. Like seriously, if you go to Amazon right now and look up reverb pedal, I bet you most of those mini pedals, like the ones that are like this big, I bet you most of them have the same guts inside them because they just have to be. They're all coming from the same factory in China. Yeah, I really like them. Those cheap pedals, my entire pedal board cost me like less than $100. And I've got flange, phase, delay, reverb, distortion, and a booster. And then I have a wah, so that doesn't count. That was more than all the other pedals together. And a tuner. And I would dare I say that a cheap analog pedal will sound better than a digital effect. For some reason. And that's just, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I really want that Fender reverb though. Like the old one. I remember when those were like $49.99. You could get them like really cheap used. Now I think they're like $300. What was it called? 57 Reverb, I think, that pedal. Anyway, just messing around. We are 6 minutes to 2 hours. We're going to do that. 6 minutes. What are we going to do? We have 6 minutes. Huh. Anybody have any suggestions? Six-minute song. I agree. I just got to decide which song. I'm looking. Hold on. I'll find something. I don't know any Queen. I mean, I know a lot of Queen songs, but I don't have any ready to go, if you know what I mean. I'm looking. I'm not going to say, oh, I spent 6 minutes looking for a song. Bye. I'm not going to do that. I will do one more song for you. I just got to find one. I'd love to do Stone Cold Crazy or Tie Your Mother Down someday. Like that. Those are two good, really good songs by Queen that I really like. All right. I'm going to do one that I've done before. It's like one of my go-tos. All right, we're getting it loaded up here. I think that this backing track is like way longer than the song. So, apologies. Is this the right one? It's 12 minutes long. I'm not playing this for 12 minutes. But here we go. Thank you guys. This is the last song of the night. said, help me if you please. right, man. That is some fun stuff, I tell you. Well, man, this pick is shredded. That's why I usually use thicker ones. So I think that's gonna do it, guys. It's like 2:30, 2:38 where I am. I have to work tomorrow. So, I hate to do this because I'm having a great time, but I gotta call it. I want to thank you guys who stuck around. You know, it means a whole lot to me. The guitar stuff isn't really just for me. It's for everybody. And I like to share. And I like to share stuff like this. Jimmy, you wouldn't go wrong if you got a Dean. You really wouldn't. All right, so you get past the 2 hour mark, I go to 3. I would agree with you if it were a Friday night or a Saturday night, but it is a Sunday night. I have a almost 2-year-old and I have a job. So I gotta be up in the morning. But Metal, I appreciate it. Ian, I appreciate it. John, I appreciate it. Yannick, I appreciate it. Jimmy, thank you. I appreciate it. If you guys want to see more of this kind of stuff, please subscribe. I'm going to be live streaming. I live stream all the time, like more than once a week. The band is, now that the break is over, pretty much every Saturday night for the rest of the year, around 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be going live with that. I'm also going to be going live randomly like this during the week. And then, as usual, I've got my regular content that comes out on Saturday mornings at 11 Eastern every week. So, thanks again for all of you who were here. You know, I really appreciate it. I have a good time. And I will see you next time. And keep on rocking. Bye.